Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows. Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and for one final time, welcome back to the Sim Racers Group Formula 3 Championship. This is the 12th and final round of this season, coming to you tonight from Monza. My name is Maunz, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams, is Mr. Joshua Wilkie. Well, Josh, after a multi-season long adventure at the end of Season 5 of this series, we say goodbye to the Dallara F3 car. It's been a long while since we saw this car first make its appearance here in the SRG world, but all good things must come to an end, as it turns out.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's a pretty good send-off, I would say. We've had a decent season, obviously a little bit of netcode issues and perhaps some old damage model issues and so on, but it's a beautiful car, and we're going to send it off today at Monza into T1 here. Hopefully everything goes as smoothly as it possibly can. A great place to finish off our season here. Looking a little overcast out there at the moment. I'll bring up the weather here when I can. I'll have a look at maybe our track temps and so on, but I'm expecting a pretty good race out of everybody here. Of course, because of those issues we've been having there, Ron, I have a feeling they'll be giving each other a little bit of extra room and stuff, and that's kind of what Monza needs.
Yeah, no, Monza, it's one of those tracks where it is so easy for a catastrophe to go down. It's almost like playing with a lighter and some fireworks around nuclear warheads. It's very, very dangerous whenever you try and run around this track, but that's part of the reason why drivers love it. They always like a little bit of fear mixed into it. Stephen Case will start this race from the pole position, the first race of the evening, the 15-minute long sprint. Max Lindlado will join him there on your front row. Kayla Michaelwitz will be in third. Jason Green alongside him there, making up row number 2. Row number 3, we'll see Traber Burns start alongside Skylar Vicroy. Adrian Lopez will be in 4th. P5 will be James McDonald. Varun Bali will start this race in 9th, with Tyrone Da Silva completing our top 10. Josh?
Yeah, and then in 11th, we have Enrique Vela. In 12th, we have Alex Velasco. 13th place is Isaac Gardner. 14th will be Danush Paborji. In 15th, we have Kenan Miller. Michelle Lynn will be in 16th place. Joshua Corwin in 17th. 18th is Jose Navas Molina. In 19th, we have Jacob Guyton. In 20th, we have Adam Duvall. Jason Cotcher will be in 21st. 22nd is Nathan Perkins. 23rd will be Thomas Brashear. Christopher Wang in 24th place. In 25th, we have Bob Egger, Diego Posada in 26th. And 27th, we have Sim Racers Group. Not sure who that is, actually. And Tyler Hagan is in 28th. In 29th, we have Culker Dillon. And in 30th, we have Ken Glasser.
And a massive field to send these cars off into Never Never Land. It is going to be a very, very fun race here tonight. Absolutely looking forward to sending these cars off on the best note imaginable. Should note some pit starts here. Danush Paborji, if he's running here tonight, that will be a pit start for him. Isaac Gardner, pit start. Josh Corwin, pit start. Max Lindlado, Varun Bali, all with pit lane starts here at the start of this race. So it gives us just a little bit more time to breathe, try and get the screaming not out of our system, because I think we'll have to scream and shout a little bit once we get this race up rocking and rolling here to send these F3 cars off with the best race that we can imagine. Alrighty, folks, let's bring it. Time is running out. Lights are about to come on as we say farewell to these F3 cars. So long, F3. Green flag is out, and drivers are on their way. It's a good start for Stephen Case as we head our way in that long run down into the first chicane. Galen Michael's going to look to try and hold on to P2. Our champion here this season going to feel pressure with Jason Green side by side, heading our way through turn number 1 and 2. It's good for Stephen Case. It's good for Michael's. Jason Green and Skylar Vickroy, though, they're still side by side trying to get their own little battle sorted.
Yeah, great start here into T1 and Monza, looking a lot better than some of the officials and even some of the IRL racing we've seen in the last year there. People all trying to win the race in the first corner. Stephen Case, though, off to a great start here with Cam Michael's just behind him. And then you'll find Jason Green. It does look like a little bit of squabbling in the background there. If you get your peepers behind you here, looking back in the pack a little bit of side by side there. I believe that's actually James McDonald and Adrian Lopez going side by side. The number 777 of Alex Velasco weaving around behind there, looking for a place, throwing some intimidation moves into the mirrors of those two drivers there. But so far, Ron, don't want to jinx it here, but we have a great start on our hands here around Monza as Adrian Lopez looks up the outside.
Yeah, it's a very, very good start here at Monza. These drivers getting off to a smooth getaway as we head our way down into Ascari for the first time. Seeing James McDonald still involved in a battle. Adrian Lopez right up in front. Alex Velasco behind. We are about to complete the first lap of this first race of the night with Stephen Case here up at the front, but ends in tears further behind. That's Jacob Guyton in trouble, the F4 standout.
Oh, what a bummer from last night's great performance there, and unfortunately he's going to put one in the wall here on the first lap. Alex Velasco getting put wide into the kitty litter there actually is James McDonald as well following along. Michelle Lynn seeing some blood in the water there, actually gaining a few positions I believe up front here. Jason Green also side by side with Skylar Vickroy, and I believe that's Traber Burns as well. Skylar Vickroy, the sandwich, or the meat in the sandwich there, he's going to pull to the outside. Jason Green holding the inside through the chicane now is going to become the outside, and they're going to continue side by side in this run down to the next corner here. Lots of pressure coming from behind Traber Burns. Now we have Jason Green pulling ahead here. We got all kinds of racing going on all over the track here. Tyler Da Silva and Alex Velasco also fighting just behind them side by side. Jason Green going to win out on this particular battle for the moment. Traber Burns actually touching, I believe, the back of Jason Green there is going to almost turn him around, be able to actually hold on to that one. It looks like maybe we got away with that, Ron, and that's going to be a very rare occurrence here as we have a bunch of drivers falling down this list now. We'll have to get into a replay there, but it looks like we may have lost Michelle Lynn, Max Amato, Adam Duvall, Jason Cotcher, and Ken Glasser here on this lap. So we will get back to that and see if we can't pull up those replays. Unfortunate, not an easy one here around the first couple laps.
Yeah, absolutely not. This is a frantic race. This is a frantic track, and you can't be too surprised when things end in tears all throughout the field. But it's been smooth. It has been very good, clean sailing as it stands right now. We've got interesting battles, small little cliques forming throughout the pack. Your top two, Stephen Case, Kalen Michael's, going to go down in the history books as the only champions in the history of this series. Stephen Case won 4 in a row from the summer of last year when we had our very first F3 season all the way through to last season. Galen Michael has already sealed the deal as your champion here in season number 5 of this championship, but right now looking to try and get their own little bragging rights here in this final race. And this was a good little comment that I heard in the iRacing chat right before we grabbed the green flag. Traber Burns just saying that he's here so he doesn't get fired. Here so he doesn't get fined. A wonderful Kyle Busch quote. Rest in peace to Kyle. And there's somebody else who said, I'm just here for the safety rating, which I found to be very funny indeed.
Yeah, especially considering, well, you don't get any safety rating in league races, so you're not going to be able to actually pull any points for that one. But we got a pretty contentious fight on our hands here with Traber Burns, Jason Green, and now Skylar Vickroy is going to take that position from Jason Green, being fairly aggressive about that move there, kind of bringing some other drivers into this fight here. You can see Adrian Lopez just behind them, and then Enrique Vela will be that class car in this group as well. Actually, just behind him now, Tyrone Da Silva starting to look like he might be part of this pretty soon. But let's go back here and start having a look at maybe what happened. And we got a crash here from Ken Glasser. It looks like he's off the road already, so I'm not sure really this had anything to do with it. This might just be on his own. I'm just going to make sure we don't collect anybody here on our rejoin. And no, it looks like he's on his own here, so having some issues, Ken Glasser. We're going to go check now Michelle Lynn, and we know she was in this battle here and we'll see exactly what went down. We're going to get a little bit of net code there between her and Kenan Miller, and she is unfortunately, very unfortunately, going to beach that car on one of the sleeping policemen. I have a feeling she's not going to be able to get off of that, and yeah, unfortunately, those tires are no longer touching the ground. That is just about the worst thing that can happen to you in that corner right there, without, of course, getting the wheels knocked off your car.
You know, I'm going to start this off by congratulating Michelle on receiving one of the highest honors in the SRG community, the Billy Award. More on that in a little bit. Okay. As we were talking about Michelle Lynn being sent back into trouble, it nearly, oh my goodness me, I just gave myself a heart attack and woke up my roommate. Oh boy, oh boy. We've still got battling out there on the racetrack. I was just going to say that incident there for Michelle hanging to turn number 1 before I had a heart attack, that just about summarizes how her season has gone. It's been very unfortunate. No luck. Really, if she didn't have bad luck, she'd have no luck at all. That's really been the case throughout this season. But, you know, Josh, I'm going to pass it off to you as I try and catch my breath and wait for my neighbors to knock on the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, we're going to watch Alex Velasco actually kind of do the smart thing there. He saw things kind of happening in front of him and just decided, you know what, I'm going to opt out of this, jump over the curb, take the little time penalty, and continue on, hopefully with the nose of my car intact. And it looks like it actually worked out for him. So he is going to get that. And yeah, I would imagine Michelle Lynn is going to be fairly happy to see these F3 cars in her rear view mirror after this season, although they are beautiful, and she's done a good job at getting her hands around them. I mean, I don't think you could actually wrap up a season with so much bad luck as well as you could as getting beached on a curb at Monza in round 12. So, you know, as funny as that is, I'm sure she's not laughing too hard about it. Right now, as we're going to have another one, I believe that is Jason Cotcher is actually going to get into, not even sure who that was. There's so much chaos going on right there. We're going to go back right away here in our ticker and find out exactly what may have happened right there. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's showing up on my ticker for some reason here. So we may have to go back and do a little bit of looking on that one. Having some problems, of course, with our timing software these days. And no, this isn't going to be it. So we're going to have to go back and try to have a look at that, although it has not shown up quite yet on my incident ticker here. That looked like a big one, though.
Oh, as we've had trouble heading into the first chicane, Jason Green sands a side pod with a little bit of damage on the front end of that car as well. He got involved in a tangle, and let's try and figure out what was a 3 wide heading into the first chicane, and contact there. Traber Burns missing a front nose cone. Jason Green, unfortunately, there missing a side pod, and that is how quickly things can go wrong here at Monza. That first chicane, you can go side by side through there, but you could also try, you know, shooting yourself at a sun to try and stop it. That's not really how anything works with anything at all.
No, that was never going to work, and I'm kind of going to lay that one on Traber Burns on the inside there. Obviously, it's difficult to tell sometimes when you're on the inside. If there's even somebody on the outside of Jason Green, he may not have even known that they were 3 wide. But of course, if you go into that 3 wide, you are not coming out of that with 3 cars, and that's just the way it is through that chicane. Probably the most low percentage move you could possibly go for there, going 3 wide through that chicane in Monza. Sometimes it's hard enough to get through there as 1 car, so we're going to chalk that up to perhaps just a little bit of blindsidedness there, not being able to see just how wide everybody was going through that corner there, because that one's never going to work out. 2 cars, unfortunately, taken out of that one, and there you go. That's Monza for you, isn't it, Ron? It's definitely that first chicane there. It's not a place really. I mean, you can get passes done in there for sure, but you need to make sure you are alongside and that the person's, you know, kind of going to play ball with you a little bit too. If you cannot squeeze yourself into a gap that just doesn't exist and expect it to work out for you.
Yeah, no, 3 wide here at Monza, that's rarely, if ever, going to fly. It can work on the straightaways, can't work through the chicane. It's bad enough to go through there side by side, let alone 3 wide. That is asking for trouble. I said that it's like, you know, trying to fire yourself off at the sun to try and stop it. That's not how anything would work. As Diego Posada tried to get a move done, heading off into Parabolica, that doesn't work for him. He goes off the circuit in the process. As we now take a look back at Jose Navas Molina, slotted in 8th there, may potentially, actually no, he's a little bit too farther back to gain any sort of advantage from a slowdown farther up the road. but he's got himself a little battle with two cars right behind him. Nathan Perkins also hop skipping a jump off the track through the runoff area in that second chicane. This has been a brutal run for some drivers. I gotta say, one thing that's going under our radar, under our nose, is Kalen Michaelwitz taking the race lead and Stephen Case sinking down the running order. He's now 4.5 seconds back of your leader right now. So that battle up at the front has cooled off so much that I think I'm getting a freezer burn.
Yeah, it's definitely cooled off quite a bit here, and so much going on track at once here. Nearly impossible to keep up with all of it. I have incident reports and off tracks and all kinds of stuff going on here. We're going to have a quick look and see if maybe we can see what happened to Stephen Case here. So this may have actually already been when something happened. He does look like he's a little behind here already. We'll go back in our ticker a little bit here. This one's just going to be a simple off track, I believe. Yep, so that's just a simple off track for Stephen Case. Going to go back a little bit here in our ticker, and unfortunately this is all I have here. So again, not sure exactly what's going on with my timing software tonight, but I am not getting incident reports. So unfortunately not going to be able to bring you exactly what happened to Stephen Case there, but he's decided to stick her in the pits.
Yeah, and so unfortunate for Stephen Case. I think I'm not sure what the deal is. I think potentially it may have just stopped any sort of notifications for you, Josh, once we got this race up and rolling, because I believe that may have been from qualifying. But either way,
right. Yep.
Yeah, because I saw everybody else down in the pits right behind him. I'm not sure whether that's at the bottom or not. But anyway, it's unfortunate for Stephen Case, still on the fight back here in second. Not feeling any pressure from behind in terms of position. Does have a car right behind him at the present moment. However, that car that you see right behind, that is the number 9 machine of Max Lotto, who has been a pretty strong contender throughout this season, but he's run into trouble already in this race. Is currently 1 lap back down there in 23rd. So Stephen Case does have the advantage of not feeling a lot of pressure from behind, but he does have the disadvantage of trying to close up a 3-second gap in 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, Ron. That was potentially from qualifying there, throwing me for a loop. My timing software not really doing me the jobs that I needed to do here for me. I may try a reload in a moment here and see if I can't get that to work again so we can get some more replays going, because now I really have no idea what to click on anymore. But we're watching a race here between Skylar Vickroy and Enrique Vela. Skylar Vickroy going to take that position for the time being here into the corner. Does look like he's going to fight back on the inside here, though. Enrique Vela going to take that one back and hold onto it for now. All kinds of attrition out there, though, Ron. Monza, one of the more difficult tracks, as we actually see Enrique Vela trying to get the power down there. Not going to be able to do it, though. Actually loses the back of that car a bit and going to lose that position to Skylar Vickroy. Now I'm going to do a quick reload of our overlay here, so if we do lose it for a moment, that will be why, and it will be back right away.
Yeah, so we'll still call this maybe just a little bit of radio-style action here. That sounds like a good idea. About 2 minutes left to go in this first race of the night. Of course, we do have that 25-minute-long feature coming up later on here this evening. So still a lot of racing to look forward to, as Varun Bali going to have a slide. Off the track he goes, heading off through the second chicane, gonna spin in the gravel, and now here is the most agonizing part, having to wait to find a break in the action to finally rejoin. Exits out in P15, maybe going to lose out on another spot to Bob Eggert side by side, and there you can see missing rear wing on that car as well. How did he lose the rear wing out of that?
I think he backed up. I think right when we were watching him and I switched cameras there, I think he hit the reverse and he backed into the wall and snap the wing off. But you know, it could be it could very well just be the damage model as well, Ron. We've seen some pretty funky physics things happen in the last season or two with some of these cars. Every once in a while, even if you just get close to something, the car just kind of explodes on you. So unfortunately that is going to take him out there, as we're going to try 3 wide here again, at least momentarily. 23 deciding to kind of back out of that one, at least for now. Corwin on the outside, Keenan Miller on the inside, going to hold that line. Yeah, we made it through that one, so not too bad. That is Danush Paborji there, actually, in the 23, just behind them. So he did get that pit lane start, moving his way up the field here so far. I think maybe, with my fingers crossed here, perhaps that my timing software has sorted itself out. So from here on in, I should be able to get proper damage reports from people and so on. As we're going to try 3 wide again here for a moment. Nope, they're going to think better of it, and that's exactly what you want to do. There's no way you're getting through that corner 3 wide.
You know, this is going to be potentially the oddest thing that has ever come out of my mouth, which is saying something, because I was talking about throwing Tic Tacs into the sun on the SKR broadcast earlier on tonight. That first chicane, I think iRacers have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome with it in terms of going side by side through there. They know that's a bad idea. They know they shouldn't do it, but they just cannot help themselves as a spin heading out of the chicane, and that's going to drop Josh Corwin out of that battle in the blink of an eye. Oh, goodness
rejoin.
me. Rejoins, and unfortunately, that's going to give James McDonald a black flag and a jump scare of a lifetime. So that's not only a code black with the black flag, that'll be a code brown as we take a look at this. Corwin, very easy mistake to have. You're loading up a lot on those rear tires heading out the turn, but then it is, that's a falling anvil if ever I have seen one there for James McDonald. That is a tragedy up at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, speaking of up at the front of the pack, Caleb Michael's about to win this race here up at the front of the field. Yes, he does. Caleb Michael's going to score the victory here tonight. Stephen Case ends up only 1.9 seconds back there in P2. That wasn't a brilliant drive. He was like 5 seconds back a few laps ago. Closes it up. It's 2 seconds at the end, so it's still enough for Michael's to win. But my goodness me, Stephen Case putting in some heaters there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll have to apologize a little bit for this first heat round here. The timing software not really doing me any favors. Looks like it has sorted itself out now, so we should be okay for the feature, but that was a little frenetic out there, wasn't it? I'm expecting to see hopefully a little bit more, a little bit less attrition here in the second race. That was a little bit frenetic from our point of view here up in the booth. James McDonald coming across the line here, or trying to come across the line in the pit lane. He's going to with a black flag from that rejoin. Yeah, that was quite the round there for sure, as we have some people bringing the cars back around with no nose on them. Probably a better idea at that point to just throw her in the pit and come back. But he's going to try here to bring her home. And it looks like maybe holding on to a position here. Nope, he's not really going to hold on to that position either. So, yeah, unfortunately, not a great rejoin there for Joshua Corwin. But, hey, we've all done it before. And that mistake that kind of got him there, one of the easiest things to do around this track.
Yeah, as we see that car finally grind to a halt, 3 wheels on me wagon as he heads across the stripe. I will say, James McDonald, we haven't done enough shows together. I need to tell James that you cannot serve a penalty on the last lap coming down pit lane because it won't count as a full drive-through. I know Michael Schumacher did that once in the Formula One race at Silverstone many moons ago, but alas, you cannot do it here. Only one sound to make about some of those cars that were wrecked heading across the stripe. We're breaking out the sad harmonica at the end of that. But I think we're not gonna talk about something sad. We're gonna talk about some happy things real quick. First, before we handle one kind of business, we do want to handle another kind of business. All throughout this season, we have had the privilege to put on these broadcasts week in and week out here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And if it hasn't been for the support of Kukaran Dillon and Dillon Motorsports and Tire, all of these broadcasts would not have been made possible. As a top-rated and award-winning service center, Dillon Motorsports knows that auto service isn't just about the present; it's about the future too. From star certifications to simple maintenance, you'll be covered with some of the friendliest service in the Bay Area with a focus on customer satisfaction. Dillon Motorsports and Tire, serving San Jose, Santa Clara, Willow Glen, and beyond. We want to thank Kukaran Dillon and Dillon Motorsports and Tire for sponsoring this season of racing action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. With one business taken out of the way, let's move on to another. We're going to drag in Tyler Hagan to have a quick little chat here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Tyler, welcome in. We want to welcome you back here into the show after being on the F4 broadcast yesterday, and I will give you the floor to make a similar announcement to what you did last night.
Thanks, Ron. So here at the Sim Racers Group, we have the season title that goes to our intermediate F4 and advanced F3 championships, and those are earned via the usual standard point structures. When you win one of those championships, you get your name up on the plaque at our brick and mortar headquarters in San Jose. We do have one more award that we like to give out every season. We give out one in the Intermediate League and one in the Advanced League, and it's called the Billy. It's named after Billy Campbell Peach. He was one of the best people I've ever known in my life, and we lost him tragically way too soon. Every race he went into, whether it be against the league, an official, or even against some AI, he raced cleanly, respectfully, and with heart. Each season, the award is voted on by the community, and it can only be won a single time by a single driver, and it is even more prestigious than winning a championship. We ask every league member to tell us which driver they feel most embodies the spirit of Billy, and ask them, it's the last lap of the race. You're going side by side with another driver for the win. Who would you most like to be racing side by side with? Last night goes to a gentleman named Braun, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name again since I butchered it so bad last night. But tonight, for the Advanced F3 League, it goes to Michelle Lynn. And I should point out that I'm pronouncing Michelle with only one L.
And I'll tell you what, and I'll say this again in the interview a little bit later on. I think that is the first trophy that has been brought to the city of Philadelphia in probably since the Super Bowl win a couple of years ago, now that I think about it. But it's been nice to see her keep a positive mindset throughout what has been a very topsy-turvy season with a lot of bad luck.
It has been filled with the worst luck possible for Michelle. And through it all, she has just kept quite the positive attitude. She always comes in after the race, and we do our post-race debrief, and she's always very chipper, very, very willing to help out people. And it's just a treat to have her around. And all of her bad luck has been just that. It's bad luck, and as the result of other drivers making mistakes. Very rarely does Michelle put a foot out of line.
Yeah, it's awesome to see her out here on the racetrack, learning these F3s from her past experience in the Formula Vs, and looking forward to seeing next season in the Indy Next cars. Quick little question, Tyler, just settling some business. Who's behind the wheel of the number 11 car here tonight? Because I don't believe we have them worked out on their graphics.
That is a gentleman by the name of Jeff Shilja. Jeff used to run F4 with us a couple seasons back. Then life got in the way, and he hadn't been around. And he popped up the other day and said, "Hey guys, I want to race. I want to race again." And we know for a fact that he's just too fast for the Intermediate League. So we gave him a ride tonight in the F3, and he will hop into the NXT for next season.
Awesome, seeing some returning names here as we bid farewell to these F3 cars. Tyler, thank you for joining us here in the booth. Thank you for announcing the winner of the Billy Award here in the F3s, and good luck in this feature race coming up here.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You as well. That right there was Tyler Hagan going to be starting this feature race here coming up in a few moments' time. Josh, warm-up is just about concluded. We're about to head our way into the feature. I will let you take a look at tonight's starting grid for the final time here in the F3s.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to that grid right about now. You can see our session actually click over right there. And just want to say quickly, probably one of the better Billy recipients there for sure. Not that all of them haven't deserved it, but Michelle Lynn, through all of the series and leagues that she's a part of, always a big staple of anyone she's in, and always a very nice driver and racer to be around. Alex Velasco is going to take us to the line in P1. Then you'll see Tyrone Da Silva, Enrique Vela, Skylar Vickroy, Stephen Case, Kalen Mikowitz in 6th, Adrian Lopez in 7th. In 8th, you'll find Jose Navas Molina in 9th, Danush Paborgi in 10th. Kenan Miller, 11th, will be Thomas Bergier. 12th will be Bob Eggert. In 13th, we have Traber Burns. 14th, Jason Green. 15th, Diego Posada. 16th, Sim Racers Group, which is actually Jeff. Forget his last name right now, but glad to have him on board. Joshua Corwin in 17th. In 18th, Nathan Perkins. 19th, James McDonald. And in 20th, Colker and Dylan. Ron.
Yeah, and then just one more group of 10 drivers. Max Lynn, Lotto, Varun Bali, Michelle Lynn, Ken Glasser there, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Tyler Hagan in P25. Jacob Guyton in 26th. Jason Cotcher in 27th. Adam Duvall, Isaac Gardner, and Chris Wang complete your 30-car field here for the final time in the Sim Racers Group F3 Series. One last hurrah as we get the green flag. Lights are out. Drivers are on their way. The frantic scramble down into turn number 1 is now fully upon us. Who's going to win it? Side by side, heading our way down into the turn. Velasco and Da Silva. Alex Velasco punching at there. A whole shot in the 777 car. He's going to take the race lead as we head our way out of the turn. Trouble a little bit farther in the back. Driver stacking up. No harm, no foul. Up in the front of the field. Harm and foul done a little bit farther in the back. And unfortunately, I believe Michelle Lynn may have gotten collected in that at least slightly. She had to take to the runoff area, a little bit of front wing damage on that race car, but thankfully all 4 wheels are still on the wagon as these drivers still trying to get the chaos sorted out through the first chicane.
Yeah, it looks like we lost a few. That is Jason Cotcher, I believe, with the rear wing missing. Obviously, you can't see it in sim, so you don't know if you're missing it until you turn into a corner and lose the rear end. So he's going to lose the rear end. It does look like we lost our new driver of Jeff, which Sim Racers Group 3, James McDonald, also in the pit with Isaac Gardner as well. Tyler Hagan tumbling down the list here a little bit as well. So definitely a little bit of attrition in the back of the field there, and we'll have a look back at that as soon as we can here. But unfortunately, losing a couple drivers there. Leading us into this lap, though, is Alex Velasco, Tyrone De Silva behind him, and then you'll find Skylar Vickroy. Stephen Case, of course, hounding around behind Skylar Vickroy as well, and then you'll find Kaylin Mikowitz and Kenan Miller. So still pretty close and all to play for here up front, and we'll see a little bit more passing, some close racing going on back here with Joshua Corwin and Thomas Bashir looking for a better result in our feature race here, and it looks like they're almost going to push it 3 wide again. Decided not to, though, and that's probably better for it for sure. Going fairly wide there, Jason Green was holding that car together around our first lap, but Alex Velasco going to bring us to the line for lap 1.
Yeah, I said that 3 wide into the first chicane was like trying to throw yourself at the sun. 3 wide into parabolic, still not ideal, but it's a whole lot easier to manage than some other drivers' positioning, shall we say. So we'll keep an eye on it as we go throughout this race, see how adventurous and experimental these drivers are. Everybody, I feel, out there on the racetrack, not really going for all that glory. They're just looking to have some fun here in this race. And if they go for a dive, they go for a dive. Unfortunately, there's a big stack up heading into the turn. You can see James McDonald collected in that. Drivers going up into the air. I believe that was Traver Burns with a hop, skip, and a jump up into the air. All 4 wheels off the deck for him. Lots of drivers running into trouble as they headed their way through the first chicane. You know, the worst part about that first chicane here at Monza, Josh, is it's still an improvement over the version of the track they had beforehand, which was somehow even tighter, even more chaotic, and even worse to try and go through on lap 1.
Yeah, it is one of the worst designed chicanes in a T1 probably anywhere for sure, and that was a very honest mistake from everybody there, just really doing their best to try to check up and not hit anybody, and kind of in the process of that maybe over checked up a little bit, caused a bit of an accordion. And then, you know, there's some people there that just, they have no indication that anything's really going on. You have a big wing in your face and a bunch of cars, and all of a sudden you're in the wing, and that's about all you can do. So we're going to chalk that one up to that. I think people being timid on purpose, they're trying to be as respectful as possible and make it through T1, but honestly, just the design and the physics of that corner, they just don't work a lot of the time. You're just not going to get through there if you try to get side by side, or if you stack up like that. Unfortunately, Stephen Case now pulling alongside Tyrone De Silva in to T1. Will he make this one work on the inside? And he is, and you can see exactly sort of how that's done. Tyrone De Silva seeing that Stephen Case is up the inside of him and then relinquishing that position. He was alongside enough to have that commanding line. It is the faster, better line through that corner, and it's smart to give it up at that point. If you try to fight it through the next 2, A, all you're doing is slowing the both of you down, and everybody else is going to catch you, and B, there's a really small chance, or a good chance, you're not going to come out the end of either one of those corners. So some good driving there between those 2 drivers, and Tyrone De Silva going to live to fight another day, getting hounded by Skylar Vickroy behind, and then you'll find Kaylin Mikowitz. But wow, unfortunately, again, Monza is taking some of our drivers out here very early. We have a bunch of drivers in the pit and coming out of the pit. Looks like Jason Green here. No, that's Bob Eggert actually, looking like he is going to have to drop a slowdown here, as well as as Stephen Case and Alex Velasco fighting for position. You can see Skylar Vickroy in the background as well, looking on the inside.
Yeah, so we're already seeing these drivers settle into their own little packs. We've got a pretty big one up at the top 5. It is the entirety of your top 5 packed in like sardines right now. Stephen Case is a leader as it stands presently, as we keep an eye on this fight. Here it is heading into this is heading into Ascari, excuse me. Skylar Vickroy trying to get the move done. We brought on board with him, and that's how you lick the stamp and send it, heading off into that turn. Easy peasy, beautiful breezy. Cover girl holds on to the final podium spot as it stands right now. Is looking a little bit farther in the back. Bob Eggert in trouble. He gets overtaken. Leapfrog game heading heading through Parabolica. And I think Eggert may have just gotten abducted by a UFO. Oh, he's back now. So the aliens didn't want him for too long. He's out there in lucky spot P13. That's what these drivers are fighting for whenever they're battling around 13th. They're trying to see who does and doesn't get abducted by the aliens. Brashear looking for it here now for 11th on Jacob Guyton. Guyton looking for a better run here in this race than he had in race number 1 when he tagged the wall. Right now tags the gravel and got to lose out on some momentum. Traper Burns got to look to get a move done here side by side as they head their way out of the chicane. This could get very dicey into chicane number 2, but at the moment it is smooth.
Yeah, looking okay here so far. You definitely want to be careful going into this chicane as well. One of the more difficult ones on any track here. You know, both of these chicanes, actually all 3 of them in a row, very difficult. Actually, I believe there's even 4 sort of somewhat chicanes in a row around here. And it is, well, you know, it's not really my favoriteest thing in the world. I don't hate this track, but I've had a lot of, let's say, misfortune around here. And I think that's probably a lot of people's history with this track. Not exactly sure why. It really does sort of promote racing. Oh, as we're going to get a big strike on the curb, sleeping policeman there from Kalen Mikovich. He's going to hold on to that one somehow. I'm not exactly sure how he held on to that one. All 4 wheels off the ground for a moment. He bounced around and then boop, he's just back straight again. So getting away with that one, but packing up behind them here. Just to finish my point there, actually maybe just after this we can sort it out as we're going side by side by side by side through the final corner here. Going to sort it out a little bit more, but you know, I think that's probably part of it, right? We're seeing a lot of side by side. This track promotes a lot of side by side. You can get side by side with somebody and then attack them into these chicanes, and it just happens over and over and over again around here. There is some straightaways to get some drafting done. And we got quite the pack of cars here mid-pack fighting, or sorry, in the top 5 here, fighting for position at the moment. Oh,
no,
boy.
there wouldn't be a race here at Monza if we weren't going 3 wide heading into turn number 1. These drivers, that's not even playing with fire. That's doing jumping jacks in front of a firing squad. I mean, we love to see it as commentators, but if I was out there behind the wheel, I would be, you know, I would be so, you know, riddled with anxiety. I think I'd be shaking as much as Jello on top of a washing machine. As here we go, Tyrone De Silva looking for it on Kenan Miller. That's a battle for P6, and that's De Silva taking it just like that. P6 for the driver of the 480 car. One of the last battles of this train of cars. That top 5 were packed in like sardines not too long ago. They've now all spread out. I think that battle approached the event horizon of a black hole, and it's been spaghettified. That's the first time that's ever been said. It's also quite fitting because we are in Italy.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, man. This is it's a bit of an anomaly of a race here, this one, and the last 2 as well, the heat race and this one here now. Not exactly what we usually see from our F3 drivers here, and I'm going to chalk that up to Monza, pretty much, and maybe because it's the final round, right? Like you're saying, we do have drivers out here kind of just having some fun. Today. They're pretty much resigned to the positions that they're going to be in for this championship. Probably the last time they touch the F3 car for a little bit. So why not get out there, race hard, and have some fun? And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here from the F3 crew at SRG here today. But looking at the inside now, Thomas Brashear is on. I'm not exactly sure who that was. Sorry, Jacob Guyton with a different paint job here than I'm used to seeing. Maybe that's because Trading Paints did not load correctly. We'll have to do a little reload on that one as well. But in the black livery there, you are seeing Jacob Guyton, who's now again trying to get this position back into T1. Looks like he's got a pretty good chance to do it here. We shall see if they decide or dare go through T1 too wide here, as we have seen so many disastrous attempts at it, and it looks like they're going to get that one done. Actually, he's going to take that position back. He is in the 64 from Thomas Brashear.
Yeah, I said the whole thing of the pack being spaghettified, approaching the event horizon of the black hole. Maybe that's what we can nickname Jacob Guyton's number 64 car. We can call it the black hole. It is about as pitch black as you can get here on iRacing. It's pretty cool to see. As I will say, I think the black hole has probably summoned all of the clouds in the entire northern hemisphere to Monza. It's still very overcast, which I think is also part of the reason why these drivers are battling as hard as they are. Cooler track temperatures allowing these drivers to lean on those tires a little bit more. 83 degrees Fahrenheit is the current track temperature, which in racing terms is pretty much perfect.
Yeah, pretty good track conditions out there for sure. I wouldn't blame it necessarily on the conditions out there. Actually, you know what? Maybe you would, because the conditions are so optimal that you're able to kind of really drive the car super hard, and it's going to, he's going to back out of that one very smartly. Jacob Guyton is not taking out the Duldime racing car that was about to be taken out there if he decided to take that line. He thought better of it. He saw that before it happened and decided to back out of it a little bit, and they're both going to live to fight another day. Varun Bali just behind him, or beside him now, actually fighting for position here. The side-by-side racing around here just will not end, will it, Ron? There's a lot of chance around here to get that draft and get side-by-side into the next corner. Perhaps a little bit of mistakes happening as well, allowing some of these drivers to catch each other, but another hard one to keep up with around Monza here. This is making me work overtime in the booth, let me tell you. Oh, Pivorgi sideways, bummer.
And so unfortunately for Pivorgi and others piling in there right at the end as Traber burns. Oh, and that's going to be very sketchy. Oh, no, Michelle piles into it. Oh, I feel like I just got tased. That was painful to watch.
Yes, it was. Unfortunately, Michelle Lynn again falling to, well, let's just say it. These are incidents that are not her fault. She has not caused any of this and getting caught up in it again. So unfortunately, this Monza race has been a bit frenetic for most drivers out there. Maybe no more so than Michelle Lynn, who's again, looks like she's actually going to get away with that without any real major damage, but definitely slowed her down into T1 there. And, man, there's just attrition everywhere. I'm having a really hard time in the booth here keeping up with all of it. I have a sea of red and off tracks everywhere here, so we're going to do our best to keep up with it. Nathan Perkins and Jacob Guyton, we're just beside each other here, but still fighting with Varun Bali. All kinds of racing going on out there of all types.
You know, we've got some good battling, like here right now between Varun Bali, Nathan Perkins, and Jacob Guyton. We brought on board with the driver of the number 64 car. It's definitely a contrasting livery compared to the car that he usually runs in the F4 championship, which is a bit more colorful. It's the old Winn-Dixie car.
Oh, yes, that's what it is, of course.
But, I mean, you can still see it from the helmet, but it just stands out a little bit. I like it, though. I like it a lot. I'm a fan of a black livery on a race car. Look at him sawing at the wheel. Madness, having to have the same reactions of a Chinese ping pong player as Enrique Vela going to come down pit lane, and that is the first time I've ever made that comparison before.
Yeah, well, you know, they do tend to have some extremely fast reflexes and twitch muscle and so on to play ping pong, and they are some of the best ping pong players on the planet, so pretty apt one there, I would say, as they're going to make a little bit of contact here. Student driver car taking a little bit of damage there, Nathan Perkins. Looks like maybe it's actually squashed itself back out with that strange damage model we've seen a couple times here, but that is going to kind of settle that battle, at least for the time being. Jacob Guyton's going to take that one. Enrique Vela actually pulling into the pit there in the background. I would imagine taking a little bit of repair damage, perhaps that car not behaving exactly like he wanted to. He's going to go in there and fix it up a little bit. Going to come back out on track now into 17th place. Finally, Ron, we have a moment to breathe here. I'm looking at the timing tower. There is not a sea of red. There isn't a sea of off tracks, and there isn't 15 battles going on at once. So we can catch our breath a little bit here. Have a look at Stephen Case, who is now plugging away up front here, almost 5 seconds ahead at this point. Next, you'll find Alex Velasco back here fighting with Kalen Majkowicz for those final 2 spots on the podium. And then Skylar Vickery actually a little bit of a distant 4th place, and then Jason Green even more of a distant 5th there. So Monza really rearing its head here today for some of these drivers, either A, getting caught up in it yourself and making a mistake, or B, getting caught up in another driver's mistake. Seems to be the story of Monza today.
Yeah, it's a story of these drivers' lives here currently, which is a little bit unfortunate for some, but it's been frantic from our perspective here in the broadcast booth. I haven't had to, turn the knobs and work the comms at the same time. So I could say that I have enjoyed it, but Josh, I know what it's like pulling production commentary double duty on a race that's frantic. Yeah, that would be the point where my singular brain cell, his name's Gerald, by the way, Gerald would resign in a situation like that. So it has been a brutal race for some as we keep our eye on this little battle. I will say, Michelle Lynn sort of acting like a cat with 9 lives in that 215 car Philly represent, holding into lucky spot P13. We saw her get collected in that incident at the start, then got a little bit of drama there with the incident hang down to turn number 1 not too long ago. She's still out there on the racetrack, still with a clean race car, and about to take a spot. Nathan Perkins overshoots a turn, and that's going to allow Michelle to jump up there into P12. I don't want to say anything more out of fear of jinxing her, but it's been going good, at least for now.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. She is up 11 positions here. And you know, I would imagine all of this practice avoiding things and getting in these incidents is going to make her one of the better aware drivers out there for sure. He's got her head on a swivel at this point, looking for absolutely any danger around her or some form of rapidly unplanned disassembly happening around her. That seems to happen quite a bit. So fortunately, she's looking okay out there for now. Up 11 positions actually, so very formidable at the moment. Doing very well here in 12th place. Here back with Alex Velasco and Kalen Majkowicz, though, looking like they're fair. As soon as I was about to say fairly happy to be where they are. Kalen Majkowicz going to pull out, make that pass happen on Alex Velasco. Not going to fight that one into T1 smartly and let that happen. They are up out front here. The last thing you want to do is bring the likes of Skylar Vikra into that battle just because you couldn't let go of a position a little bit here and make it a 3 or even 4 car battle if you push a little bit too hard and turn those screws too hard on your competitor. But our timing tower now, if you notice over there, looking fairly white and a little bit yellow, maybe 1 or 2 spots here near Thomas Brashear and Varun Bali fighting for position. I believe Varun Bali just taking that position from Thomas Brashear just now, so they're still locked in a bit of a battle here. But as far as the rest of the drivers go out there, it looks like we're in a bit of a calm moment here. 16 minutes into the race, almost 17 minutes into the race, we have finally found some peace. Michelle Lynn has found a little bit of clear track out there, and things are looking good.
As Kenneth Miller running off the track, they're going to sink down into P10. He now holds the distinction that he actually shares with his teammate, funnily enough. Skylar Vikra and Kenneth Miller, the only 2 cars out there on the racetrack right now that are running in the exact same spot that they started in. So an interesting little point to bring up there. I'm curious, Josh, if we could maybe take a little gander at the team's championship points as we head our way off into this, because it's pretty, set in stone as to who's going to win the driver's title. It is set in stone. It's Kalen Majkowicz getting it here at the end of last week's race. But the team's points have been rather interesting. The reason I'm bringing this up is I want to note Sky Ken Milroy and the I wouldn't say dominance because they're second in the points, but they have made this a very, very tight battle. I want to give some love to Skylar Vikroy, a driver that I started covering many moons ago over in the LMP2 ranks over in another league on another network. He joined the F3s not too terribly long after they started. I think he may have been in the first race at Imola many, many moons ago, which was the first ever bit of live production work I've done here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. But I remember covering him for the very first time, saw that he was a very quick driver. It was great to see him here in these F3s. Kenneth Miller, of course, one of our former colleagues here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, seeing him hit the racetrack nowadays and putting in some good performance. He's been making that all Jaguar tribute scheme work like a treat week after week, and now finds himself in another battle. This time it's himself and Thomas Brashear side by side as they headed their way through into the second chicane. A second chicane which is just as brutal as the first, but it almost feels like a sense of relief after what that first chicane, especially on lap 1, that's like rolling out of bed and getting shot at.
Yeah, absolutely. Like getting shot at and the floor of your bedroom is covered in landmines and the lights are off.
That's what they call a Bridesburg welcome. They call that a Bridesburg welcome here in Philly. Michelle Lynn can confirm that.
It's a very difficult corner. And you're right, Ron. After you get through that corner, even though the second one is so unbelievably difficult as well, it does feel like you've kind of passed something that's much harder. And this one's not quite so bad. And then the third one, even easier. Sometimes you kind of lull yourself into submission by that third one, though. And this third one's, fairly easy. I can take it at some high speed, but it also has its little quirks to it as well. Really easy place to hit a curb and lose control of the car here, as we're seeing more battling between Jacob Guyton and Thomas Brashear. Just will not relent to each other. They're side by side every lap, multiple times here, fighting. So having a blast out there, I would imagine, these two drivers racing each other. No incidents as of yet, racing each other nice and clean. Want to be careful with that net code, though, not getting too close like they do on the straightaway right here. Definitely. Oh, and we're actually going to do a little touching there, maybe having a little bit of a conversation there coming down the front straight between the 64 and the number 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at that one car very closely as he has another sideways snap heading out of the turn, gets into the head of Jacob Guyton a little bit, who has a sideways run off into the gravel. As I gotta wonder, whether that car is slightly wounded, because he has sunk down the running order.
Oh, it is now.
It's definitely got to be hurt now. There goes the front wing.
Nope,
Tries
it's
to get
back.
the moves out. Actually, no, the front wing's fine. Gotta love this F3 car here this season. It loses the front wing, then it gains it back again, then it
What a
loses it,
strange
then
race.
gains it back. Michelle Lynn, I think, has gone through 5 front wings so far here in this race, and she hasn't even come into the pits yet. So Jacob Guyan has now disappeared.
Huh. Yep, he actually did disappear. He is no longer on our timing tower at all. So perhaps some of that we're seeing there with that wing kind of detaching and coming back and so on is a bit of a connection error issue for him. But I got to be honest, Ron, this has been one of the more frenetic races I've seen in a really long time here. We're having all kinds of issues getting thrown at us here, whether it be people getting zapped out of the race, rear wings disappearing and then reappearing, cars on top of each other, all kinds of stuff going on here. So I think we're having some fun. Honestly, we're having some fun up here in the booth. We're having some fun down here in the cars. Hopefully not anybody taking this one too seriously here today. Of course, we are wrapping up the F3 season and the F3 car, so we will be putting this car behind us, and I think we just look at it like a little bit of comedy here when something like that happens from here on out, and until we get to our Indy next season here, and just have some fun with this final round here, as we're getting pretty spread out throughout the field here. 21 minutes away on the clock now, not too much time left to get anything done, and the gaps are pretty big out there, aren't they, Ron? So without some kind of an incident of some kind there, something kind of crazy happening, I think we're pretty locked into position at the moment. Now, that being said, that's pretty much all we've seen all race here, so let's keep it wide open for anything to happen.
Yeah, so there's still a little bit left to go here in this event, as you said. Bit of a lame duck event, for lack of any better terminology. These drivers just out there on the racetrack looking for a little bit of fun. I will say now, just to get this point out of the way, because I meant to bring it up in our little pre-race preamble that we usually do before we go live here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, but after the SKR broadcast earlier, I had just enough time to get a little bit of food in my system, and then immediately went over to another show, and then left that, and about a minute later, we were live here on this broadcast. But Michelle Lynn let us know about, because of course, it's a bit of a Weekend Warriors tradition, which is now kind of gone into the SRG world as well, of burning it down at the end of this race, and certainly burning it down at the end of the season, saying a farewell to these F3 cars. You know, we're not going to be running them next season. May as well, as the Columbia School of Broadcasting would want me to say, tear the shift out of them here at the end of this race. Michelle Lynn let us know about what she's going to do at the end of this, and we're going to have her on the chopper cam, because that is going to be glorious. I mean, it's going to be destructive, and we may have to put up a little parental advisory, because that will be a massive car accident, but you know, it's sim. We can get away with it. We won't have to pour out a drink and read out an obituary if some car goes flying 16 times.
Yep, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see. We'll do our best to capture that as well. I think it's going to be a little off of the usual racing line here. Let's say sometimes the cameras kind of struggle to get out there and cover it, but we will do our best to follow her and the rest here when we do a little bit of shenanigans here at the end, and maybe break some cars up for fun, if we haven't already done that enough during this race into T1 around Monza, just grabbing everybody again. And, you know, I'm going to chalk that up, like I said, here, to people just trying to be as cautious as they can going into that corner, and then the damage model and the net code of this particular machinery here maybe rearing its head a little bit there and making everybody look silly. So I wouldn't chalk that up to much driver error here, as we're clearly having some connection issues and so on during this one. So probably, some people going to be happy to see this car in the rearview mirror, some maybe not so much. They like the way it handles and so on, but either way, this is going to be the end on the final lap here that Stephen Case is going to bring us around for SRG F3 as we usher in our new SRG Indy next, and this should be the final race of our feature in the F3 series, or final lap, sorry.
Yeah, that it is one more lap of racing action, and although this season has been dominated by Kayla Mikowitz, how fitting is it that Stephen Case, the man who's really been the guy in these F3s ever since we got up and rolling with them in the summer of last year, how fitting is it for him to dominate this final race in these cars? Yeah, I remember the first time I got to cover the F3s. It was the first broadcast we did for them way back in the summer of 2025. It was the first ever time that I was producing something live, and what a race it was. Our old pal, our old buddy, Mr. Adam Thompson, our founder here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, was the dominant race winner throughout that event. But as the years went along and more talented racers got a grip to these F3s, we saw the racing get more action-packed, more intense. We saw more drivers challenge Stephen Case, whether it be the form of Jason Green, his longtime competitor who's been running these F3 cars for many moons, or whether it be this man, Kayla Mikowitz, who may be finishing this race in second, but will end this season off as your champion. We've seen it all over the past 5 seasons here of the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship, but like all good things, they must come to an end at some point. We say farewell to these Dallara F3s and hello to New Horizons, and we send these cars off on quite the high note, I gotta say. Throughout the chaos of this race, it has been an exciting one throughout, and Stephen Case is about to round it off. For the final time here in the Sim Racers Group Formula 3 Championship, Stephen Case going to win here in Monza.
Yeah, and pretty commanding win for Stephen Case. Kayla Mikowitz going to come across the line here shortly in second place, and then you'll find Alex Velasco in third through the fog here at Monza. Was definitely a pretty interesting race around here for sure. And like you said, Ron, I think the season as a whole was a very good season, and altogether, I'd say it was a pretty darn good success here. We had a lot of good racing, a lot of different winners, a lot of jockeying for position. Even though we did have to deal with some problems here, the drivers and the SRG admins and so on doing their very best to keep everything cool and calm and do some of the best racing we possibly can, even though there was some adversity out there to overcome. We've had a really good season here. Michelle Lynn bringing it across the line in 10th place. That's going to have her up how many positions? 13 positions, lucky 13. So able to turn that around there, and all that attrition and everything in front of her, she's able to get through it and come home 13 positions up in a top 10. I'd say that's very respectable for this race here today. Our final driver's just coming across the line now, and I'd say even though that was a little frenetic, even though there was some incidents, and even though Monza just rears its head every once in a while, I'd say this entire thing was a success as a season, and nonetheless really looking forward to getting into that next machinery for the next season here.
Yeah, next up is the next, and you'll be able to see that next up here on Slow Motion Broadcasting next season. Got that? Neither did I. Next. I
think we'll keep an eye on Michelle in here, see what happens. I'm not sure where she's gonna go here. I want to try to get the podium in, but I also don't want to miss what Michelle Lynn has planned for us here. So we're gonna go back and forth a little.
We do have the podium photo first, and then the group photo afterwards, and then we'll get to see it. But I will say Michelle Lynn will be getting the ball rolling with what she wants to do as a post-race shenanigans, hang down the start-finish stretch right after the pit entry. And I'm just going to leave it off at that as we see our podium drivers get it lined up here at the end of this race, at the end of this season, at the end of this series. Trying to get very tight there. Alex Velasco basically cuddling with the side pod there of Stephen Case's machine, and everybody else behind waiting to get information here as well. What a night. What a night here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. A brilliant season opener for the SKR Sim Racing League at, I nearly said Willow Springs. I nearly said Watkins Glen before I said Willow Springs, which is where the race was actually at. And of course here at Monza tonight. I'm hoping nobody stacks it in heading into there. Here we go. There is the group photo. Don't see anybody piling up, thankfully. It's okay. A little bit worried about that. I saw a double lock up there in the back of shot and nearly just saw the face of Christ on a gummy bear. I'm waiting to see when Michelle Lynn, well, I'm waiting to see when everybody deploys, but I think Michelle promised us that it will be absolutely spectacular. And of course, being one of the series admins over in the Formula V Weekend Warriors, which you'll see back here on Slow Motion Broadcasting in a couple of weeks' time, I think we'll have to focus on her because this has the promise of being absolutely spectacular. So we are 5 wide here. That is one thing about this photo. 3 wide being pretty common. Yeah, 5 wide up there at the front. Yeah, that kind of sums up the season that we just had.
Yeah, absolutely. This looks like T1 at Monza, perhaps. Everybody trying to get in there. No, they actually did a pretty darn good job today of getting through T1. We'll see if we can't jump on board here and get a shot of this. I'm always a little nervous that the cameras aren't going to follow the car off track, and we're just going to get a big shot of bushes or something like that. But we will do our best here to try to capture this, maybe from the chopper view here. And it looks like we're kind of tenuously looking at maybe what we're going to do here. We're all
here we go.
Track. Yeah. We're trying to figure out what do we do, where do we go. Maybe we'll get Michelle Lynn has the master plan here, so maybe we'll keep an eye on her here. Let's see if the the cameras aren't going to follow.
That's like a traffic jam on the Schuylkill Expressway. There's Jason Green. He knows how to get there.
He'll know too, yes. He should know as well. He's done this more than a few times in the Weekend Warriors, I think.
Yeah,
we're going to stay on our chopper cam here just to make sure that we can actually catch this here. Oh yeah, there he goes. He's lining up. Oh, you got to squeeze through the fence here. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It's kind of like defusing a bomb here to get into this, but we have the high potential. Everybody's just trying to be like, no, you go, no, you go, no, you go, no, you go. It's it is like a traffic jam on the Schuylkill Expressway here in the city of Philadelphia. On point with the Philly references. It's nice having at least one driver from Philly, so I can vent my daily frustration with driving around in the city. I had a good zinger about driving in Philly earlier. It'll probably pop into my head as we're doing the interviews. Michelle Lynn got spun around here as we were still trying to get this field in. Yeah, look at this. It's a tight squeeze.
Squeak through there.
Able to make it through. There we go. And now we're up onto the old banking. So this may be unfamiliar territory for some, but way, way back in the day, Monza did have this banked oval, and it is an absolute massive oval. It hasn't really been raced on for years. F1 used to race on a combined layout that featured both the road course and the oval, which unfortunately did end in the fatal accident of Wolfgang on Trips many years ago. Well, we are now deployed, peeking our way through the smoke and the chaos here. This is where it gets dicey. So this banking is massive. This oval is massive. And you will see exactly what we're going to have.
We just got cut off by iRacing, unfortunately.
Damn it!
Yep, a little bit too long for the timer there, unfortunately, and I think iRacing just closed the session on us, so we can no longer see what is happening, unfortunately, right before it was about to happen. I think the iRacing session just closed.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. Well, take a look at your race results here, shall we?
Yeah. Oh, it just took a little too long, I think, for everybody to get lined up and get out there and get it done. So, yeah, unfortunately.
I haven't been this disappointed since Shrek 2.
It was a very disappointing movie, though, so great analogy there for sure. But unfortunate, yes, iRacing cut us off there, so nothing the drivers or us up in the booth can do about that. Unfortunately, there's just no information that is going to be given to us for that portion. So, yes, we might as well get to our results here, and then some interviews.
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling here for this. Dang it, I was looking forward to seeing an F3 car strike the moon. Yeah, that was the biggest anticlimax of all time. Man, I'll be honest, I nearly said a swear when I realized that iRacing had stopped the session. Let's take a look at our race results here. Stephen Case gets a victory. Kayla Mikowitz in P2. Alex Velasco rounds out your podium there in third. Oh, boy. Finishing this race in P4 at the end of it all is Skylar Vickroy, Jason Green in fifth, Josh Corrin in P6, Danush Baborgi in seventh, Varun Bali in eighth, Kenna Miller in ninth, Michelle Lynn completes your top 10.
And then you'll find Adam Duvall in 11th. In 12th, Jose Navas Molina. In 13th, we have Bob Eggert. In 14th, Nathan Perkins. In 15th, we have Enrique Vela. In 16th, we have Adrian Lopez. 17th is Kulker and Dillon. 18th is Thomas Brashear. And we'll see if we can't move that along. There we go. And then we have, Enrique Vela in 15th, Adrian Lopez in 16th. 17th is Kulker and Dillon. Oh, I think I already did that, didn't I? 18th is Thomas Brashear. Wow, everything's happening to us here today in the booth. It has been quite the final round here. Jason Cotcher, admin of SRG, doing all the work behind the scenes here in 19th place. In 20th, we have Ken Glasser. 21st, Jacob Guyton. In 22nd, Tyrone De Silva. Traver Burns in 23rd. 24th is Diago Posada. 25th is Jeff, and I don't know his last name, but hopefully he'll be around next season here. We can see some more of him in 25th. Tyler Hagan, also admin, got to thank him for all the work behind the scenes in 26th. James McDonald will be in 27th. Max Linlotto in 28th place, and I believe we have 2 more drivers, in Isaac Gardner and Chris Wang in 30th.
Yeah, so those are your results at the end of the final round of the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship. We're going to get the interviews up and rolling. We'll have a chat here with Michelle Lynn. First things first, have a chat with our Billy Award winner here. Michelle, welcome into the broadcast booth. First off, our disappointment is immeasurable that the iRacing session ended the way it did, but I was waiting to see an F3 car strike the moon. I had high hopes for that, but
no, I'm so sad.
Yeah, I will say one good thing to come out of it, and I think it's rather fitting. You ended up getting a top 10 at the end of that feature race, up 13 spots, which is a very fitting number considering the sheer amount of misfortune throughout this season. But
lucky 13.
Yeah, lucky 13 for you. Of course, winning the Billy Award as well. It's outside of the bad luck, I think I've said multiple times throughout the season that luck-wise, you've been the filled-in snake pit at the Philadelphia Zoo. There hasn't really been a pit to hiss in.
I heard you say that. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah,
I know
think
where you live, mister.
It's been a good way to end off this season, though.
Yeah, tonight, I'm gonna really try hard and control myself because I'm fired up right now. The heat, I had like a decent start. Jason and I were talking about like just survive the first couple laps, just survive, and then I think it was Kenan, maybe. I think it was Kenan who like tapped my rear in the first chicane and spun me onto the curb, so my car high-sided. I couldn't move.
Unbelievable.
So I had to get towed back to the pits, which was like almost 3-minute tow.
Oh.
And
Man.
like I was just like, do I bother going back out on track? And then I got back on track, and like the front pack is coming through. So I'm like, all right, back the hell out. It was insane. But race 2, I was just drive at your pace, get around everybody, and I did. And then like about lap 7, there was a spin in the first chicane or something, and I like got stuck. And I like 6 cars got around me. I had no damage. I was just like waiting for the accident to clear. And that was like one of those situations where I wish people would just like escape or whatever, because like, oh my God, I was burning up. But I love my teammate. He was just basically like, is your car damaged? No. All right, focus. And like got my head on straight. And it's crazy because like I won the Billy Award, which is supposed to be like the clean driver award, and I'm in this interview like a hot-headed Philly girl. So anyway, yeah, it was a good race. I'm really glad I got P10. I feel bad for Thomas. I was chasing Thomas Brashear down, and it was like the last lap, and I wanted to try to pass him on merit. And going through the Ascari curves, I believe they're called, it looks like he might have like hit a curb or something and he spun. I feel bad for him because he was having a great race. But I stole that P10 from him. But I'm happy with it. I'm glad we're done with the F3s. I mean, they're wonderful cars to drive, but the netcode is just atrocious. And then also back to what Ron was saying. Yeah, we finally got on the oval and we ran out of time, and that was sad.
Oh, so sad. Honestly, yeah. It was just about to happen too, and it froze. I can't even believe it. It has been quite the night here on track and in the booth, Michelle. So, yeah, maybe it's good to see the F3s in the rear view here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a farewell to these F3s, but a hello to the Indy Next. There's been a decent amount of practice racing in the SRG world, including I still want to give some love to the SRG admins for setting up a test session so we could get our graphics up and rolling for next season. Have you gotten a chance to drive the Indy Next a decent amount? And if so, what are your thoughts on the car now?
Okay, I definitely have driven it a little bit. I tend to not like to focus on a lot of things at once. So I've got the Formula V and I've got the F3, and it's like I don't want to do anything else. But I've done some time in the Indy Next. I did my paint and JG2's paint, but I need more time in that car. But it's a little more like the Lotus 79 in that like you've gotta be more gradual with the throttle just so that you don't get wheel spin, and it's really not difficult to do. My like handling wise, honestly, I think the F3 handles like has higher Gs. The F3 is light and has a ton of downforce, but the Indy Next is fast, and then you got the little push to pass for like an extra 50 horsepower, and I have never in sim or in real life ever raced a car that had a push to pass button, so like I don't know how to use it. Do you know what I mean? Like I know how to push a button, but I don't know like what kind of strategy to use with it. So I've got some learning to do over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a real interesting dynamic to see that push to pass function get used. And I will be fully honest and say that outside of doing a couple of IndyCar broadcasts, I don't think I've gone to cover a series that has had a push to pass feature. So that's going to be real fascinating to look forward to here come time for the start of the next season. Lots of stuff coming up on the horizon. Of course, the return of the Formula V Weekend Warriors for next season. It's a busy time, but I do want to ask you very quickly before we let you go, Michelle, about your thoughts on receiving the Billy Award.
I'm really floored by it. It means a lot to me because the Billy Award, Captain Cotcher he sends like a direct message out to everyone and asks them, and it's like I think last season when Jason Green won, the question was last corner, last lap, who do you want to be racing against? So in other words, someone that you trust, someone that like what's Tom Gorman say, embraces the race, and I've always tried to be a clean driver. In my 20 years of racing IRL, the last 10 years were all vintage racing. And in vintage racing, like, you race hard with people, but you're also racing with the same people that you're going to have a barbecue with after the day is done. And you don't want to wreck your car. You don't want to get wrecked yourself. And so, like, you race hard, but you also all want to go home. And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I haven't been able to get rid of that for sim racing. Like, I still somehow deep in my brain feel like I'm going to get hurt if I crash. And I think that I'm just basically driving in sim like I was in vintage racing, which can be too timid at times if you're with someone who's really aggressive. But, like, I pride myself on clean driving, and I appreciate that people noticed and they like racing with me. Being the only woman in this league right now is a little overwhelming at times, and I feel like I have a lot of weight on my shoulders to like represent, and I'm like a mid-pack driver, so I wish I could do better. Hopefully I will next season in the NXT, but I have to thank Captain Cotcher and Tyler. I mean, its series would not be what it is without it. This SRG is extremely strict with rules. They're very strict with like your driving, and you don't want a direct message from Tyler because that means that you got in trouble. Luckily I've only gotten one of those since I've been racing with them, but it keeps the driving a lot cleaner, and it makes it way more enjoyable when like, oh, I got murdered and whatever, but you also know that person is gonna get a penalty or get talked to. So they just do such a good job running everything, and I have had the absolute best time running with Sim Racers Group. They're just so much fun to run with, and I am babbling and I am sorry, but I'm sure I forgot a bunch of things, but I think that's it. Also, I gotta thank you guys. I mean, come on, I've known you guys for years now, and without slow motion broadcasting, I don't think any of this would be half as fun. I mean, it's 11:15 at night in Philly, and what am I going to do? I'm going to make a coffee and watch the broadcast. Nice. So, yeah, there's that.
Awesome.
You'll be doing that. Meanwhile, I'm probably going to be drinking about 5 glasses of ice water and promptly going off to bed. I've been on the air since about 7. So, I will also say, Michelle made some good Philly references. Yeah, the traffic jam getting in there, had to make the Schuylkill.
It's like the Schuylkill, right?
Yeah,
it was totally the Schuylkill.
Yeah, that, and I think I said that this race was kind of like rolling out of bed and getting shot at. How that's a Bridesburg welcome, but
yeah, the eternal question, was that a firework or a gunshot?
Oh, I actually have a good little story about this. I haven't shared it on the exact company that I was with at the time because they're stingy, and they don't really like it when the commentators are actual people. But I remember doing a broadcast one time. I was like, oh, it's a beautiful fall day. Let me have the window open. I heard pop, pop. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it safe. As it turns out, it was somebody getting
Yeah, of course.
capped. So yeah, welcome to Philly. But Michelle, thank you for joining us here at the broadcast booth, and we'll see you out there on the racetrack, wherever it is in the not too distant future.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye, Michelle.
Yep, thank you very much. That right there was Michelle Lynn, winner of the Billy Award this season. It's Michelle and I. Of course, the interviews are always going to be pretty lengthy. Josh, I'll pass the mic off to you to have a chat with our champion of Kalen Michaelwitz.
Yeah, let's bring him down here into the booth. Hopefully the graphics are going to work out for me here. And will they? Nope, they're not going to work for me. So we will just get through it. Winner of today's race and second place finisher of today's race and champion of the entire F3 season, our final season here in the F3s. Pretty awesome stuff, man. Maybe you give us a little bit of an overview of your season, how it went, and maybe what you're looking forward to in the Indy Next.
Oh man, this was really like a fairy tale season. I think I wasn't expecting too much. Started the season, knew Barcelona was kind of a difficult track for me. Put in a lot of practice, ended up getting a good result. Did the exact same thing, practice a lot for Red Bull Ring. Got a good result again, and I started realizing like, hey, maybe I have a good shot at this. I'm qualifying like pole P2. If I keep this up, I keep it clean, it's gonna go well. But there were obviously some headwinds, you might say. The netcode this season has been really, really terrible. It's been really very hard to make passes this season and do them in a safe and careful way. And it's also been difficult because we have this the way we do the top 6 invert for the feature race. Most times, it's fun and exciting, but when you start inviting and stacking the top 8 people in the grid, like all 3K and above, and the racing kind of turns into something else. It really raises the level, and you really have to be perfect. It's all about who can blink first. So I think my approach with that, in order to maximize the points, was really just be content with, if you finish first in the sprint, you're gonna finish 6th in the feature, and every position you get, just be thankful. Don't try to force anything, and hopefully I was able to make some passes. I was lucky enough to finish a lot of the feature races in 1st and 2nd, most of them actually. But yeah, really, I think the main thing for me this season was the improvement in pace, but also that commitment to racing clean, to making sure I set up passes, to making sure that I give room for netcode, and when I'm making a pass, I really commit and know where I'm going. And I think these were all the key factors that really allowed me to have a good season this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. That's a great mindset to have there, I think, as well, Kalen, to just kind of let things come to you. Obviously, you don't sit on your hands and let opportunities fly by you, but at the same time, just kind of be grateful and happy with what you have there, and go out with that sort of mentality. Always seems to work for me. It's when I think I mode something, or I have a track that I'm really fast at and I know I want a result, seems to be when you tense up a little bit and maybe make a mistake. But looking forward into the next season here in the Indies, have you got a lot of practice in the next car? Is it something you're looking forward to here, or is that going to be a real challenge?
Done quite a bit of practice. I don't want to say it was my idea, but I've been telling Jason, like, hey, Indy Next is a good car, it's got push to pass, the racing is going to be good. The handling is pretty good. It's on some really popular tracks, so I don't want to take credit, but maybe I floated the idea. Maybe it was a bit of luck that the F3 became pretty undrivable this season, that now we can get into a good car, and I think this is going to help with the invert too. So you have more opportunities to make passes. You're not stuck in a draft train or like a dirty air train, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think through my practice sessions, I think I really need to nail down how to do the setup combinations between the front and rear anti-roll bars and the brake bias, and trying to use them to mitigate how this Indy Next car is really tire wear dependent. Like even more than the F3, these tires fall off at like, you know, lap 6 onwards. They peak at lap 4. After lap 6, you really gotta not brake while you're turning, like very little trail braking. So it's a completely different driving experience, but it's something I'm gonna look forward to, and hopefully, you know, I'll be able to race Stephen Case a lot more next season, because, you know, I've discussed it with him, but it always felt like, you know, we were chasing each other, but never really got there to catch up and put a battle together. So hopefully I get more good racing next season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to it. I may actually be out there. It looks like I am going to be out there with you guys on track too. Really looking forward to that car. And you're right, it does maybe it just has a little bit more character in a lot of ways there, with the tires kind of wearing off quicker. You have a push to pass. Not quite as sticky as it felt like to me. There's definitely enough power to blow the rear tires off if you're a little bit too impetuous on the throttle. So I think it's going to be a real test for people, and I think they're really going to enjoy it as well. It should be a good season. But before we let you go here, Kalen, maybe we'll let you have the floor, and you can give out some thanks and whatever else you'd like to say here before we finish her off.
Yeah, a couple thanks. First to friends and family who's always been watching me and supporting me. You know, I'm glad I was able to, you know, put on a good performance, entertain you guys, and you know, I'm very grateful that I could collect a championship win for you guys. Another big shout out to Jason, you know, for, you know, bringing me into this league. It's been a really long time, I guess, in terms of like my development. It's been a long time coming, and this would not have been possible without some of the advice he's given me. Like truly, my base level of driving is a lot more aggressive and crazy than you've seen. But, you know, he's always giving me the advice like, hey, we're doing league racing. Make sure you finish the race, survive first, don't ruin anyone's races. Those are really the priorities. And, you know, with that mindset, that is like 80% of why I was able to do well. So big shout out to him. And, you know, I think I wish he would say that more, honestly. I wish he would tell everybody that, and more people would listen. We'd have like great racing all the time. But yeah, really big shout out to Jason and Tyler for, you know, the help he's given me, and also the stewarding. That it's a lot of work, and it's gonna be a lot of work today. I don't know, maybe he'll like close an eye to some of the things that have been that happened this race. Probably not with a 30 car grid, but, you know, good luck, Tyler. We're rooting for you.
Yeah, this one might be a little bit difficult to officiate for sure. I think having some fun out there on the last round as well. A little bit of netcode, a little bit of everything out there, but some great final words there for sure, and some good tips on mindset and stuff as well. Kalen, congratulations on the championship. You deserve it this season with a great consistent drive out there, and we're here for it, man. Very cool stuff, and we will see you next season in the Indy Next car.
Thank you, Joshua.
And that right there was Kalen Michaelwitz, our champion here at the end of this season. He did win the sprint race earlier on, so he was a race winner here tonight, just not in the main show. We want to thank the drivers for stepping in to have a little chat with us here. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so I figured I would just kind of move on and head our way into our final thoughts. Josh, you know, as I kind of said and just talked about throughout most of that race, these F3s, despite the fact they've been around for only 3 seasons, we've seen such a strong, you know, amount of drivers go through this championship. Not only strong in terms of participation, but the actual drivers running in this series as well. Over the past year and a half, actually year and 9 months, ever since our first ever broadcast of the Sim Racers group back on January 1st of 2025, we've just seen this community continue to grow. And although these F3 cars are now going the way of the Dodo Bird, I think the Indy Next are going to present one heck of a chance for some new stories to be made, some new names to make their voices heard, and it is just going to be one heck of a ride.
Yeah, I agree, Ron. I think, as much fun as we had with these these beautiful F3 cars, honestly, for watching them in slow motion pile into each other here, that wasn't planned, I promise. I think it's probably time to say goodbye to them. It was a good way to send them off, and really looking forward to the Indy Next stuff here coming up next season. Hopefully I'll be a part of that. And, before I totally sign off myself here, I would like to, again, just reach out and say thank you to the SRG crew, for just being so awesome on track, being so easy to work with, the admins and everybody else, and for the outpouring that you guys gave me here for my treatment and stuff. I am still in treatment, going 4 times a week twice a week for neural feedback as well as physio, and I'm making a little bit of headway here, guys. Things are starting to feel a little bit better. It is a roller coaster, but I am feeling much better, and I just got to thank all you guys from the bottom of my heart there for reaching out and giving me a hand with that. It means everything to us here. And hopefully, I'm going to be able to keep my health up and be good in the car for the next season. And that's my goal here, really, is to put a good season in there and stay healthy so that I can stay in the car and do some good racing. So thanks to everybody out there. Thank you to the admins. Thank you to the drivers. Just awesome stuff, and the Billy winners and everything as well. Such a cool group to be a part of, such an awesome league to be a part of. And we just love it here at SMB, and looking forward to many more seasons to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing what season 4 of 2026 is going to have in store for not just this series as it moves over to the Indy Next, not just for the Sim Racers Group World, but for all of the series that we have for you week in and week out here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Usually I would say this towards the end of the Weekend Warriors broadcast, but will not be on that this upcoming Sunday unless something goes awry. So I'll say my kind of final thoughts on this season as we approach iRacing's Week 13 here, and I'll probably echo many of these sentiments at the other Ray Esports Weekend Warriors 50th V runoffs, just a week and a half away from now. This just about wraps up my 15th season doing these iRacing broadcasts now here. I started doing this stuff back in March of 2023. I was just entering my final quarter of my senior year of high school, and for a while I didn't really know what to do, with myself in terms of a career, in terms of what I want to do with my life. And, this broadcasting stuff has been an outlet. It's been a way for a racing nerd, however polished or unpolished I may be, as just somebody who started doing this stuff as a high school and never really gave up, even though a lot of people probably would want me to. It's an absolute treat to cover this action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And this is also getting now to the conclusion of our second full year being here, at least my second full year of being here on SMB. Started off back in season 3 of 2024 as a Weekend Warriors, moved here over from another network, and things continue to blossom here on the channel. Josh, of course, amazing work day in and day out. This broadcasting company, the work goes far beyond the stuff that you just see live here every single hour and a half on this series every single week. It is day in and day out, constant work, constant development, and constant experimentation as well, just outside of everything that we have here on SMB. Josh, happy to hear that the treatment is going well as well, dude. It's odd to say here as a 21-year-old to a 45-year-old man, but we are basically brothers from another mother, so it's happy to see everything working out for you well here. And it's one heck of a thing that we've got here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. And to all of you tuning into these broadcasts, it would not be possible without you. We don't get to do these broadcasts if it isn't for the great racing and the great audience that we have tuning into these shows every single week. So our thanks go out to you here at the end of this show. It's a farewell to the F3s, but not a farewell here on SMB. We've still got a lot of action coming up for you here day in and day out. The Ray Esports Summer Series will be rounding off their season at Mid-Ohio with the MX-5s. Hope to see you all there. The American Muscle Series will be on the streets of Chicago on Tuesday, September the 8th. SKR Sim Racing will be back for race number 2 of their season that just got started earlier tonight. That will be at Fuji. And of course, next Saturday and Sunday, we have the 50th Big Grid Weekend Warriors virtual runoffs at tracks like Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio, VIR, and Road America. Never miss out on the racing action here on SMB by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell. You won't want to miss out on the action that we have in store for you as the summer turns into the fall and the fall turns into the winter, and we put our wraps on 2026, the iRacing year. Our once again, congratulations go out to our champion here of Kayla Michaelwitz, a dominant season and a farewell to the F3. But as for this broadcast here tonight for round number 12 of the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship here at Monza, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Josh Wilkie, working the comms and the cams with me on this show, and our old pal Mike Braun joining us all throughout this season as well, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting tonight, and we hope to see you all for the Indy Next in one season's time.